Welcome back to another episode of Everything You Need to Know Before You Buy, a series inspired by Jake Baldina's Before You Buy series, where I gather all the news and trailers of an upcoming game and formulate an opinion on whether you should buy this game or not. I don't know if the game is actually good or not, since I don't have access to a review copy of some sort, so I'm in the same position as you, the viewer. But the whole aim of this series is to give you some knowledge and guidance for these upcoming games. So here's everything you need to know before you buy Like a Dragon Ishin. Like a Dragon Ishin is an upcoming remake of the 2014 game Ryu Ga Gotoku Ishin, set for release on February 21st, 2023. Developed by Ryu Ga Gotoku Studio, who's known for creating the Yakuza series, this game is a spin-off to the series, only released in Japan at the time. The reason why we got a remake in the first place was due to the success of Ghost of Tsushima, so thank you, Sucker Punch. Anyways, let's talk about what the game is about. Like a Dragon Ishin is set in feudal Japan during the Bakumatsu period, aka the final years of the Edo period, which was between 1853 to 1867. We play as Sakamoto Ryoma, of course modeled by the protagonist of the Yakuza series, Kazuma Kiryu. If you don't know, Sakamoto Ryoma is a popular historical samurai in Japan, known for abolishing feudalism and returning power back to the emperor. And that's just scratching the surface of Ryoma's legacy. I'm not going to go into full detail, but it's worth looking into. In the story, Ryoma goes into hiding after taking the fall for the death of his mentor, Yoshida Toyo. He leaves his hometown, Tosa, and arrives to Kyoto under a different identity named Saito Hajime. Eventually, he joins the Shinsengumi, a special police force organized by the shogunate, after finding out that his mentor's assailant is within their ranks. Next, the gameplay. If you're familiar with the Yakuza series, you should already know the beat-em-up gameplay it has to offer, and this game is no exception. It's probably confusing for those who got introduced to the series through Yakuza Like a Dragon, since that game switched to a turn-based system. Despite it being called Like a Dragon Ishin, the game isn't turn-based, but there is a reason why RGG Studio used that name, which I'll discuss later on. In combat, Ryoma has access to fighting styles, just like in Yakuza 0, for example. There are 4 styles, Swordsman and Gunman, which utilizes Ryoma's sword and revolver respectively, while Dancer, allowing Ryoma to wield both weapons at once, slashing and shooting at great speeds, and the last one is Brawler, an unarmed style familiar within the series. This time around, it uses a combination of Kiryu's Dragon of Dojima style and karate. Outside from fighting, we can explore and roam a few locations within the game. As said before, there's Tosa, which is Ryoma's hometown. However, we'll be in Kyoto for the majority of the time, exploring areas like Fushimi, Ryakugai, and Ryakanai, to name a few. As you wander around, you'll come across many vicinities, like a blacksmith to upgrade your weapons, and various shops and restaurants offering a wide selection of food and items. Plus, there are many mini-games that you can partake in, ranging from gambling games such as poker and chicken racing, to activities like BO dancing and karaoke. And just like any other Yakuza game, you can expect side content like sub-stories and increasing friendships with the locals. Let's move on to the changes Like a Dragon Ishin has compared to the original that stood out to me. The first change is that they've added characters from Yakuza Like a Dragon and Yakuza 0 into the remake. A great decision from RGG Studio, attracting any fans familiar with those two games, and likely the reason why it has Like a Dragon in the title. Additionally, it is the localized name for Ryu Ga Gotoku. But what I didn't realize until later is that these characters have replaced the counterparts that existed in the original. For example, there's a character in Ishin named Todo Heisuke, whose counterpart was Shigeki Baba from Yakuza 5, but now he's replaced by Tianyu Zhao from Like a Dragon. Also, it's worth noting that there are some characters that did initially have a counterpart to be replaced as well. The second change is that the remake is made in Unreal Engine 4 instead of the Dragon Engine, which is RGG Studio's own game engine used in their recent releases. This is the first time they're using Unreal Engine 4, and for those concerned, they haven't abandoned the Dragon Engine at all. During the RGG Summit, they announced 2 other games in the works planned for release after Ishin, Like a Dragon Gaiden and Like a Dragon 8. I presume that these 2 games are going to use the Dragon Engine and developed by the main team who are experienced with it. Therefore, this could mean that the team working on Ishin are the B team, who most likely aren't familiar with the Dragon Engine, hence why they are using a more well-known engine the team may have experience in. Because of this, you can see that the graphics has been updated and the UI modified. For example, the HP gauge, a damage counter in battle, and this interesting change I'm going to talk about next. The last change I want to discuss is the ability to use trooper cards outside of the battle dungeon, which now appears at the bottom left of the screen. The battle dungeon is an unlockable side content where you battle through a dungeon filled with enemies to collect items and money. Trooper cards appear in this mode, featuring various characters, stats, and graded rarity ranging from common to super rare. There are 5 types of cards: attack, defense, medical, support, and assist, which when used affects Ryoma in some way, like for example, increasing his attack power for a certain amount of time or regenerating health. In the battle dungeon, you can build squads comprising of 4 corporal slots, with each slot having 3 soldier slots. Every trooper card has 2 skills, a soldier skill and a corporal skill, with those in the corporal slot gaining both effects. What's also new is that they added more cards featuring characters from the series, as well as guest trooper cards featuring actor Raul Coley and pro wrestler Kenny Omega, which I presume will be DLC maybe? I think the biggest criticism I've seen about this change is that it diminished the sword and gunplay style in battle, since now you could use these flashy and over-the-top moves. Additionally, in this gameplay reveal trailer, we can see that the main story bosses can also use trooper cards effects as well. You can choose to not use the trooper cards at all, since you can do the same in the battle dungeon, but for bosses, I don't know if RGG Studio has made an option to toggle it off. If not, some people have argued that it would ruin the immersion of the game. Which brings us to the most important section of the video. Should you buy Like a Dragon Ishin? I say it's worth the purchase on release. Ishin has never been released outside of Japan until now, and to play it after 9 years will be a great experience, especially if you're a fan of the Yakuza series. Since this is a spin-off that isn't canon to the main series, I think newcomers to the game will enjoy this, albeit you won't recognize any characters until you play the main series, which I highly recommend. As said before, Ishin isn't a turn-based game, and for those who came from Yakuza Like a Dragon who like that battle system, they may steer away from this and wait for the eventual Like a Dragon 8. This game is presumably made by RGG Studio's B team, which may raise some concerns, especially those who still have nightmares of Resident Evil 3 Remake. There are noticeable differences between the original and the remake. The biggest concern is the bosses having the ability to use trooper card effects. If there isn't an option when the game does release, I don't think the remake is going to be a dumpster fire, just a few people disappointed, which I understand why. But despite all that, the game overall outweighs the cons, and I trust that RGG Studio has gathered a team to remake Ishin to the best of their ability. And that's it for this video. Unfortunately, I can't play Like a Dragon Ishin when it releases since I'll be away from home, but hopefully the remake will have expectations met. The next video I'll be focusing on is Resident Evil 4 Remake, which a lot of people are eagerly anticipating, myself included. Anyways, I hope you enjoyed this episode of everything you need to know before you buy. If you want to support the channel, be sure to like, subscribe, and check out the channel for more. And, as always, I'll see you guys next time and catch you guys later. Take care.